Nothing says holidays like divorce.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jarrod Oxendine, our divorce specialist. Hey, Jarrod.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
That's some funny stuff.
He's so cheery.
Oxlawfirm.com. We're in the holidays. I think the best advice might be, check your significant other's phone every now and then in the holidays. Right, Jarrod?
No.
Yeah, holidays can be stressful, and that joke was hilarious, by the way. People, when they first meet, they can't live without each other. They never see themselves ever, breaking up or getting a divorce. And then, people grow apart over time. They stop communicating, and they hate each other and become enemies. Not everybody, but a lot of people find themselves in that situation. But holidays, some tips on the holidays. Holidays are stressful as it is. There's financial pressure. You're buying gifts, and you got to deal with the in-laws, and you just have multiple social engagements, and so it can get very stressful. My advice is make time for your spouse. Y'all find a night to go have a lovely evening together, maybe a dinner, so you can kind of escape from all that pressure and stress, reconnect. If you're in a situation where you're also already tense with the spouse going into the holidays, my best advice is de-escalate, because everything that's going on is just going to heighten that level of stress. So if your spouse is coming at you, try and de-escalate from the situation. Don't re-engage. That's going to make it more stressful, and sometimes can lead to the police getting involved, and you definitely don't want to be carted off to jail on Christmas morning.
Jarrod, you know how, I'll tell you, I'm in a very good marriage. You know how I know and that I confirm that? Do you know, Leslie?
You just say yes to everything.
No, I'll tell you how you know you're in a good marriage. I walked into the room and I announced to my wife that it's almost time, that my Cybertruck is about to be here, and she had no problem with it. That's how you know you're in a good marriage.
That's right. She gets
Honestly.
you, and you get her, and she puts up with the stuff that she doesn't really like, but she loves you, so she gives you deference, and you do the same thing. Beautiful.
No. She likes it, Jarrod. Okay, look, here's something in the news, and this is an Atlanta couple. Hopefully they're not your client. But I want to play a clip of something that's happening in the news right now. Kim Zolciak and Courtoy Bierman, this ugly divorce bouncing back and forth. Listen to this clip first.
Louis Vuitton men's duffel bag. This is a garment bag, and this is a garment bag, which is really cool because they don't even make them with the hangers anymore. And then, of course, the little rolling bag as well. Excellent condition. Like I said, he carried it one time on the road to one of his football games.
So this woman is on social media selling all his stuff.
Yeah, she started a different Instagram account. It's called Kim ZB Closet, selling a bunch of her stuff and selling a bunch of his stuff. And I'm looking at this Louis Vuitton men's 6-piece set. Barn, do you want to take a guess at how much she's selling it for?
$1,000?
$12,500.
Oh,
wow.
Retails at $15,500.
Jarrod, can you do that?
Well, number one, I think both these parties had a spending problem, and that's unfortunately one of the things that can lead to divorce is financial disagreements. But the answer is no. You cannot sell assets of either things that belong to you, certainly things that belong to your spouse, while the divorce is pending. And I just had this happen in a case. It's very timely because I actually had a trial last week, and the wife, I represent the husband, she started selling all the furniture and furnishings and personal belongings and some jewelry, and I think there were even some handbags and stuff. And so she was holding yard sales and listing stuff on eBay, and she was keeping all the money.
Wow.
And would never provide an accounting of what she sold everything for. So what the judge did is judge gave my client the majority of the assets in the case, so the retirement accounts, et cetera, to make up for all the property that the wife sold during the divorce. So you can't do that.
Well, do we think that her husband, do we think that Courtoy is going to come after her?
Can he?
Because she's clearly selling his stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, what happens in that case when the spouse does do that?
Well, he should. I mean, if your spouse is selling things that are major assets, like let's say they're liquidating a bank account or they're transferring retirement money, you have to act and put a stop to that before it gets out of control. But if it's just, personal belongings, handbags, maybe some jewelry, maybe some clothing, I would say keep track of it and use that against your spouse when it comes to settlement negotiations or the trial, because we can do things that'll make up for that. And the example I gave earlier was, you might get more of the retirement assets. You might get more of the money that's in the bank account. And in the long run, that's probably worth more than what these little items are worth anyway.
So if you're keeping track, Jarrod Oxendine, he is our divorce guy. He is the guy that everyone listening, that means every other one of you will probably have this subject to deal with at some point in your life. You'll go and find oxlawfirm.com. That's where you go. Need to know that first. But you're telling me if someone's in a divorce, neither of the parties can sell stuff. So, like, if you're selling a car and all of a sudden you file for divorce, you can't sell your car?
You can't. Now, there's an exception for ordinary course of business. So if you are selling something as part of a normal business transaction or in the ordinary course of how you've traditionally done stuff during the marriage, there's an exception for that. But no, other than that, you can't sell cars, you can't sell homes,
Wow.
You can't transfer assets, you can't take your spouse's name off of bank accounts, close credit cards, unless you have the other spouse's permission or an order from the court. And a lot of people make that mistake and they get in trouble for it.
Should we give Croy Bierman your phone number, Jarrod?
Yeah.
I mean, come
He
on.
definitely needs it, He definitely needs it. What we don't know about Kim is whether or not he's given her permission to sell some of this stuff. I'm assuming, just based on what I hear about their divorce and the status of the relationship, that she might be doing this without his knowledge. But here's the thing, she might not know any better, right? I know a lot of people, their attorneys don't explain to them and say, hey, while the case is pending, you can't do this or you can't do that. And so they get out there and they do it anyway. I mean, she must not know any better, right? She's blasting it on social media. Y'all found out about it, right? I mean, it's out there in public that she's selling this stuff. So you wonder, is he in agreement with this? Or does she just not know any better? Or even worse, she knows and she doesn't care. And that's when you get in the most trouble.
It could be a bit, though, because, come on, Real Housewives of Atlanta, alumni, or Real Housewives, period, they all live such fake lives that I could see with, like, hey, let's do this, and we'll get pressed for it and make a little money. What's the wildest, Jarrod, the wildest thing you've ever had a client, like the other side of the client, like the person getting divorced from them, that they've done?
The wildest thing. Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, because there's so many wild stories. I mean, we've got people with hidden bank accounts. We've got people with boyfriends and girlfriends during the marriage, and they're trying to basically plan for life after divorce, and so they're kind of trying to transfer assets that belong to the parties to the boyfriend or girlfriend for safekeeping until they get divorced. And that's a really bad thing, because if you get found out about that, which you will unless it's just cash. I mean, if it's coming out of a bank account, we can track it. We can see where you're transferring stuff. And if it shows up that you've sent it to the boyfriend or girlfriend, oops. Right. And now we're wondering, how much additional money do we not know about that you've given this person? And so the judge really can punish that person by giving the other spouse a larger share of what's there. And there needs to be a penalty for that. So we're not just saying, hey, an extra 10%. We're talking extra 20, 30, 40%. So, people do crazy stuff all the time, which is why I have a job.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, a lot of people may be looking for a fresh start in 2024. You know how they say, ring out the old, bring in the new. Well, some fresh starts may start at Jarrod's office. And if you want to find him, oxlawfirm.com. He is the guy. Jarrod, have a great holiday and Happy New Year to you.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Jarrod.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see you in the new year. This is the original. It's 99X.